Hey, how you doing? Let's do it to it. Alrighty, here we go. Sorry, a little itch there. When? Just patient and have fun. Excuse. Just patience, mate. Win the pawn. Let's see here. Um, hmm. This wins. We'll have to take a look at that again. I don't know why that was weird. I didn't see that one, but it's okay. Mate and ones, just keep your eyes out. Interesting. Um, oh wait a second. Takes and then mate. Okay. Let's give it another thing. There we go. rook. Okay. What's a black? What am I thinking? It's black to move. Oops. Push the pawn. Oops. Oh, it's white to move. Okay. Well, this wins a piece. I just had to make sure it worked. That wins. Oops, that doesn't win. Okay. That wins a bishop. This wins with mate. Okay. Let me see. Check, 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 checkmate. That wins a piece. Check. Checkmate. Uh-oh, my mouse stopped working. Uh-oh. There we go. Now it's connected again. Okay. That's what I had planned, but my mouse started having a sitch. It happens. That's mate. Smother. I should have seen that. And let's see. Okay. Then back, and we're good. So we'll stop there, and we'll see how we're doing here. Okay. And let's get started with our studies. We'll do a Madness endgame. A little bit longer. This is Madness is playing Mickey Adams, so this should be a pretty interesting end game for Madness. You gotta get this all set up. Shoulders down. Let your clarity define in the end. Yeah, I was thinking about the song on Meet the Robinsons when it says, "The hardest part is over. Let your clarity define you in the end." Yep, that's how it is in chess. You gotta have clarity of thought and mind. So I have to have a bishop. I have to remember that when you're playing, when you're going over lessons, you gotta have clarity of mind, clarity of thought. Don't bring anything in to your game when you're studying or when you're playing. Leave it as I like to say, check it at the door, and then you can worry about it when you are done. But until then, you're having fun playing chess. It's a blessing of the Lord Jesus that we can do that, and we should never forget that. Always be thankful. That's for sure. This is his first probably big match between with the big he had played a lot of strong players, but this is the Mickey Adams, which is a hard attacking player. He's England's best player, so it's an accomplishment to win against the best. And so what we have to remember is, don't let things interfere with your play. And that's why we learn to harness that focus into a to the zone, as I like to call it. You go into the zone. So it's black to move. So we're going to look at it from Magnus' side. So Mickey's black and Magnus is white. Alrighty. Mickey castle king sides. Oops. Drat. Forgot to put castling in. Delete chapter. So you just modify. There you go. And now we can castle for Mickey. Adams played a novelty. This point is that the point is that he can choose where to develop his knight and which rook to occupy the c-file. With black is better developed, but he must hurry with his play as white has no weakness in their position. So that's so Magnus first starts developing his knight with f3, and then Mickey plays c8. So the rook occupied the open file finally. Cool. F where did I f4? Bishop f4. Then knight bd7, which isn't really the best move in this. It's a dubious move. The best move potentially maybe would have been to have tried to play knight c6 into e3, then into e7 into f5. Trying to route that way, but I think this is still okay. It's just not as strong. Keep the file open, but with knight d7, the knight has no useful squares to go to. So this is his best spot, because if he goes here, there, he'd have to come in 2 times. Magnus played knight after this knight d2, which is an interesting continuation. He's kind of getting ready to play e4 and then trying to play e5 and lock down potentially, or maybe go for a break. The knight starts his long journey and will play a great role in this game, endgame. Rook c2. According to Mickey Adams, black's best move is knight to h5 here. Knight h5 exclam. If we wanted to take scope on it, I'm on. Oh, okay. Just gotta wait for a second. It'll pop back. But what he's saying is h5 was a recommendation. I gotta wait. Oh, right, perfect. It's back, rocking the roll. H5 gets an exclam mark because it's attacking the bishop. And then bishop g3. And then rook c2 at this point, because what you're trying to do is make a spot for your other knight to go to, and you can always exchange, and then you're much better developed. Rook b1, Magnus would have to defend his pawn on b2. Rook a c8, now it's doubled up, and we can try to go for actually a back rank mate on c1. King d1 to cover c1 twice is forced, and then f5 to try to break down the attack and potentially start rolling the forces in. Oops, not e5, sorry, wrong, a pawn. f5 here to trap the bishop. e3, this stops f4, which would be a trapping move for the bishop. Bishop takes f1. Rook takes f1, I'm thinking. Yep. So you're probably wondering, why would he trade bishops? Well, how many pawns are on dark squares for white? All of them except one, so that makes sense that this is, even though it's active, it's a bad bishop. And these pawns will neutralize the bishop's power, and the imbalance that Jeremy Silverman talked about is the knights versus a bishop and a knight. And so knight f7 to d6, and then rook d1. And black can try to look for compensation in several ways. Black is not far from equalizing here. Rook b1, rook ac1, so he's trying to go for a mate fast, and then knight to b3. Knight b3 exclam, with the idea of covering c1 twice and also allowing the king to manage avoids receiving a check on c1 now. Bishop c4. Black could have tried knight d5, knight d5, bishop d2, e5, e4, and then e4, and then knight, bishop takes f1, rook takes f1, knight c7, and king d1. White would be somewhat better here. So that would be good. Knight a1 is actually exclaim. It looks like, what are you doing? But see, the bishop blocks the rook. So this actually, in theory, I think wins a highly unusual to get an advantage with such a strange move in the opening. Normally exchanging pieces helps the better developed side, but in this particular situation, black will not be able to invade. He can't say for sure, but I think this move was not home preparation. This is a home prep from Mickey. Bishop a2. Knight takes c2. Bishop takes b1. And then knight a1 exclam again. White does not want to block the e-file, so he returns the knight to an unlikely square in the corner. Playing this shows unpredictability thinking. So Magnus is showing Mickey that his thoughts is, you know what, you may think that you have something, but this is an unpredictable move. Like, how can this be good? But it actually is good. So it's like, whoa, hello. So you have to retreat out. knight to, oops, wrong thing there. Knight to d5 with the idea of bishop d2, and then e5 here, exclaim. As Magnus has blocked all the squares from black, could invade Adam, that black could invade on. Adams naturally wants to open the position as he has more pieces in play. Excuse me. He's got more pieces in play. So that's the idea there. And so Magnus plays e3 exclam. And d takes e is also d takes e5 is an exclam move too. So you could actually was also strong, and then after knight takes. Oops, sorry, I need to do one thing. I have to enlarge the board really quick, I think, so that the board's bigger. There we go. There we go. But now we're looking at knight takes, f3, f5. There's g3, or you could play b or b3, which traps the bishop in theory. Black would not have enough compensation for this here. E takes d4, e takes d4, and then knight to b8. There's also rook e8, after takes. Rook e8 check, king d1, and would this be the answer? Knight, there's also knight f8 that could be played. Knight f8, which is an interesting continuation. And then f3 for the king to have a flight square to go to. Knight e6, king f2, bishop f5, and then bishop a6, rook d8, bishop d8, d8, and bishop c4. Can't be. Yep, can. That's right, because the rook surrendered the open file. Knight takes d4, and then rook d1. And white starts a long grind on black. f3, knight c6, bishop c4, Chew. Sorry. Let me see here. Knight C6. Oh, not. Oh, I'm sorry. That's F. Knight C6, Bishop F4. Or C4 and F4. So this is a type of idea that could be played here, which is if you don't want to do that, King F2, D8, and then Knight C2. Uh-oh. Back here, Knight C2, okay. Oops. Nope. Not that again. There we go. Now we're good. Now D8. Knight C2. Now we got it. Knight C7. Bishop B7. Knight takes D7. There. And black would be faced with a long grind again. So two long grinds. Okay. Rook D8. Oops, sorry. Wrong one. Rook D8. There's Knight C2. C B4. B3. Knight D3 check. King F1. Knight C7. And then A4. B2. Going after the bishop. And then King E2 as well. Knight B2, sorry, and then King E2. Sorry about that. King F2. Bishop F5. Knight B3. And then bishop to E6. Rook C1. White has finished his development with, and his extra pawn is safe. However, he must work for the win as black's blockades the isolated pawn and has no weaknesses in his position. Okay. F6, A4 exclam. This really puts a kink in the works. A4. Carlsen wants to open the A file. A5, which is, I believe, a dubious move for Mickey. I feel that this was the first time that a world-class player made an inaccurate move because he had too much respect for Magnus. That's what he said. He is too focused on stopping Magnus's play. Spillman wrote about this phenomenon in his article in the News in Chess magazine. It happens many times in Kasparov's game, but to earn such a respect in itself is a tremendously difficult task. To get this respect, that they will actually stop you because they believe your idea is better, is superior. And they'll even make an inferior move. I'm sorry to say that. I don't mean to, put anybody down, but I'm just saying though that it's not the best move. I'll say that they'll make not the best move in order to stop your idea because they're intimidated by your play. That's kind of what the author is alluding to here. Bishop d3. Now everything is good to go. Black will struggle. Let me see. Alright, we're doing good. Let's see, so King f7 is an interesting move. E1, A5, and knight D. Knight C, E2, and bishop D2, D3. Okay. Knight C7 and bishop C2. And they're trying to hold on to everything. White's edge is not big, it's the bishop pair. Bishop C3. Exclam. Because if the knight takes, then Magnus will actually take. Defends d pawn. Bishop f7 and knight d2. Knight d2 exclam. Knight d e7. And then bishop to f1 is an interesting continuation because you're preparing to play g3, bishop g2, and then f4 and try to get your pawn rolling. Magnus said, I could have exchanged bishops, but with almost no time left, I suddenly found a very good plan. This shows confidence. He does not shy away from direct conformity despite having little time on the clock. This is the after rook d1. Bishop takes c4, knight takes c4, d5, and then rook e1, and king f7, and rook e4, h5. And I think black's blockade gives excellent drawing chances here. Rook e1. Actually, sorry, knight takes d4. Knight d7 or d5. Adam wins the back the pawn, but his position is still unpleasant. As b6 pawn is vulnerable, he could have instead maintained the blockade with d4 or d5, knight to c4, and then king f8. Excuse me. g3 could be played here, and then bishop to e8. It would have been very interesting to see how Magnus would have tried to press for an advantage in this scenario. Rook e1. We're going after the knight that's on pre. So knight dc6, which, oops, not ec6, dc6. That holds everything together, retreats the knight out, and kind of tries to keep stuff together. Knight e6, it was actually a better idea for Mickey. It's a stronger retreating move, because from c5 the knight may attack a lot of different squares. Knight c4 are many different squares. Knight d5, and then rook to d1. Knight takes c3, rook takes d8 check, knight takes d8, and then b takes c3, bishop takes, oops, check, and then king to e8. c4 was played, and then knight to d5. And Magnus played then rook b1. And that gets an exclam, because what he's preparing to do is to actually get ready to push. A very strong move. A rook rarely stands well behind a pawn, but in this way it stops black from taking c3, because if he does, the rook would take and cause a threat on b6. King f8. Magnus himself gave the next variation, which would have been bishop g6 to try to attack the rook, rook d1, bishop c2, rook takes d5, rook takes d5, and knight to e3 with a fork. Bishop e3, knight takes, and bishop takes. And then white could press with bishop later on, bishop e8, so it would have to be like bishop b5, bishop e8. And so that'd be an interesting line. Bishop e1, that's what I mean, something like that. Okay. Bishop to e1, double exclam here. A brilliant move. Yep. This is the beginning of a very clever and subtle reshuffling of his pieces. King e7 is not the best move for Mickey. Bishop to g6. Oops, I have to go back. Bishop g6. Rook c1. Maintain the tension. Our knight b c knight b or cb 4 d1 knight c2 and knight d2 or bishop d2. Keep some tension, but with but if bishop let me see here. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I have to hold on. But not knight takes b6. Not knight takes b6 because knight takes a1. That should be because of knight takes e1. So this would be a dubious move. King g1 is an exclam idea because that allows the bishop to come out. Carlsen correctly judges that the placement of his king is less important than the ability to attack black's vulnerable b6 pawn. This move betrays the touch of the endgame montage, or the virtual the attack. Basically, this kind of is like what usually in the end game you want to get your king involved. Do you want to get everything involved? This kind of violates that right now, or takes advantage. You could break it. That's what I mean. You can break the move by moving your king back to g1. King g1. Knight b8. There's g6, and then rook c1. Bishop g6. Rook c1. Knight bd7, or c b7, and then there's f2, bishop f2, and rook b8. Bishop to excuse me. Bishop g3, rook e8, knight d6, rook d8, let me see here, where are we? Rook d8. knight to c, knight check, e6, e6, and then rook to f2, knight d3, bishop takes d3, bishop takes d3, and bishop takes b6, and rook b8. Oops, wrong. It wasn't. Bishop takes. Knight takes. Knight takes. Bishop takes. Rook b8. Rook takes a5. Bishop takes a5. And rook takes b2. So he's Magnus still has better chances. Black still has a draw potential here. Rook bishop f2. With little time, Carlsen settles on a safe continuation. He calculated that king march would be kinda not so well, but knight takes b6 is actually an okay move here. Exclam. Knight takes b6. Bishop takes a5. And then d is a2 here, and then b6 before check. I decided not to go for it. It would have been winning for him, but e6, rooks e1, check, and now if knight to e5. Let me see, is there any other ones? Or king f5. So we'll go knight e5. a5 and rook b8. a5, rook b8. f4 and knight takes f4. Knight takes a4. F takes. King d7. E takes f. G takes f, and then b4. And knight. Oh, king. Now we're going to go down king f5, bishop d3, check, king g5, rook e7, forking the pieces, knight f8, rook takes, bishop takes, and then knight takes a4, and rook takes, check, and white wins with all the attack that's just coming down the pike. Yep, so f2, knight d7, rook e1, check, king f8, d1, and rook e7, rook e1, king e7, rook e1, king f8, and then knight d6. Magnus intends to take the bishop. Knight e5, Knight to c5 is good too. Knight c5. Rook takes, or knight takes, f, king takes, and then takes on c, pawn takes, c4, knight d7, rook d1, king, e6, f1, f4, g5, and then g3. And white would be close to winning at the end of the line. Like if, rather than e5, there's one other line. Keeping the bishop also is unpleasant. So if bishop g8, c1, rook c1, knight e7, bishop b5, knight c5, bishop takes c5. So now fracturing the pawns, and knight to b7 to fork both pieces. Wins a pawn for white. There's no way to hold both. So knight e5, so there we go. Knight takes f7, king takes f7, rook d1 to attack the rook, king e7, f4, knight g4, knight takes f4 is a mistake here. You don't want to take, because rook takes d, king takes, and then bishop takes b6 check, and you win both pawns, and the game is basically won at this point. That was good. Okay, let's see, what do we got here? Rook e1 check, king f8. Keeping the king in the center would be preferred, basically, so d6 would be an interesting move for Mickey. Instead of playing passively and trying to just wait, bishop g3, king king c5, rook c1 check, king c4, bishop c4, and rook g e3, bishop e1 check, king c5, bishop b5 check, king d4, and then g3, king f g5, king f2, and white keeps an edge, but not more than just an edge. So it's really interesting for sure. The continuation would have been pretty intense at this point. So bishop d4, rook d6, h3, knight h6. But I could have tried knight takes f4, interesting move, which would have put a little bit of attack. So if rook d1 would be a mistake by Magnus, so I don't think he would play that, because e7 at this point and is an exclam king e7. H takes here, and then knight to e6, and black will press for an attack. There's another line that after e4, rook e4, knight e6, rotate c6, rotate c6, h takes, and rook e4. Rotates b, rotates a4, rook b5, rook a1 check, king f2, b1, c5 check, f7, c4 check, e8, and then b3. And white soon should be winning here, because these bishops will outnumber the rook. Rook d1, exclam, which pins the knight indirectly to the rook. f5, knight f5, knight takes f4 is a mistake here, because of bishop c5 wins, because if pawn takes, then it's a puzzle rush idea of winning in exchange. So bishop f2, king e7, knight takes c4 could be played, d takes, takes, bishop takes the pawn, bishop b7, knight b7, and then b4 exclam, trying to attack the and then takes, and pushing the pawn up the board, supported by the bishops. Bishop c4 here. This neutralizes this knight because it takes away all the squares for squares for the knight to come into. So it's an exclam, and it also stops the pawn. So this is actually a stellar move. G4. Last position is beyond repair. Knight h6. F to e3 leads to a loss after rook e1. Rook e6, f5, and then e5, bishop g3, rook e4, and rook bishop g3. There's no way to without losing the position. f4, king f7, knight f7, bishop g2, knight f4, takes, knight takes, and then bishop takes. The exchange of rooks has already improved the strength of the two bishops. Now the position's open, increases the power even further. Knight c4, c5 check, d7, bishop f1 to attack the winning also is b3. b3 wins here too with knight takes g2, and king takes g2, knight d2, and b4. And it's actually hopeless at this point. So for knight takes b2, b5 check, d8. Adam chose to give up the a pawn, dropping the g pawn loses as well. So if king c7, bishop f8, g6, f takes, h takes, h4, black is lost. b6 check, king e7, bishop king h2 to hold on, because this pawn's going to fall anyways. d5, knight d5. Bishop takes a2, a5. The white wins a pawn. Black is hopelessly lost now. d6, d2, bishop d2, king c5, and king g3, c7, bishop e3 check, king b4, bishop d2 check, king c5, bishop c1 attacking the rook, the knight, knight c4, and then bishop takes c2 or c4 exclam. Reducing the material is necessary to enable white's king to infiltrate. Bishop d2, a6, a5, king b5, king f3, c5, king c3, or bishop c3, not king, f6, h6, king e3, king c4, bishop d4, a96, and king e4, knight b4, and then h4, king b5. a5 blocks the king but loses to h5. So if he decided to play knight a6 here, h5 loses as well. h5, and also is winning is this here. And there's no way to stop both pawns from queening, because if the king tries here, you could try bishop, probably bishop first, not f6 is best, and then after king takes, up the board it goes. Here, and then king up, knight would come in, and then bishop there, and there's no way to stop the loss. The knight's got to be lost, even with there, there, there. And even if he tries, I guess he can't do that because he'll just queen. Yeah, so it's all over. Oops, sorry. There's actually more to the game. I thought it was over. I was wrong. There's some more to the game. H5, knight b4, bishop takes, f6, 3 takes, g5, and one of the pawns will promote. So if something like this, that goes. If this happens, that goes. So bishop c3. Now the white's king can invade. a6, king d5, knight c5, bishop d4, bishop d3, and king e6. And so now we're willing to give up this pawn here. Man's made some extraordinary knight moves. I can imagine that his placing of the knight in the corner will make it into the books for many decades to come. In addition, placing a king on g1 was quite extraordinary as well. His use of 2 bishops also was really impressive. Let's see, what do we got here? Sweet. This should be a fun one. Okay, I'll put it on so you can watch real quick, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Let me get a sip really fast. I'll be right back. let's get on to our studies. Oops. Let's see. Oh no, this is right. No, this one is Wesley, so not Wesley. L. Van Wellies versus Topolov. So Topolov's black, so there. Oh, D4. D4, D6, E4, D5, D5, C3, C6, knight F3, and then bishop D7. Black's replaces B6 with, Queen B6 with bishop D7. The two lines don't necessarily transpose. If white had played bishop D3, only then do we transpose into the Milder-Berry gambit. A3, which this is actually a mistake here. On E2, bishop E2, you can actually play knight G E7 after castles, and knight to G6, G3, knight G3, or pawn G3. And then bishop E7. H4. C takes D. C takes D. Castles. H5. Knight H8. And H6, G6, knight C3, and then F6. With a satisfactory position, black's H-pawn may turn into a liability in the endgame. We also took a look at this point, if bishop D3, then C takes D, C takes D, queen B6, castles, and then knight takes, and then we enter the gambit. So we have to wait only when on move 6 bishops D2, D3 for white, only on bishop D3 on move 6 for white do you play takes, and then queen B6, and you got it. So A3 and then F6. Grandmaster Shen Williams talked about this move. A3 is kind of a dubious move. It's not the best continuation. Black immediately should challenge E5 right away at this point. B6 tends to be a poor sequence in the A3 line. So bishop d3. B4. F takes E. F takes E. And then B5. Knight takes D4. Oh, I'm sorry, that's B5. Knight takes D4 is an interesting move. Grandmaster Simon Williams talked about this interesting move. It's actually been played before. C takes D, and then E takes D4. Black gets 3 center pawns for the piece. A fair deal of attack. Yep. Queen C7. Continuing to apply pressure on E5. Bishop F4. Also, white can also gambit the E-pawn by castling, and I suggest declining and playing knight castles and then probably bishop, something like this. It's more inclined. So F4 castles. Yeah, how you doing? C4 could actually be played at this point. Bishop C2 and then castle. This is also a playable line. This shuts the queen side down, which Grandmaster Simon Williams says in his Killer French that C4 is actually a better move when you're gonna be doing this. That's okay. Hey, you know what? It's important to get your work done always, so not to worry. So C4 is a better idea because what it does is it closes the queen side down and still keeps the activity of your king play, the king side for an attack, and you would be winning here. And so really interesting move, let's just say the least. Castles and C4 now is a good game. So there's B4 instead of castles. B4 could actually be played here, but C4 then everything gets locked down and there's no way for infiltration after C5. We could just retreat our knight into here and even play knight G6 if we had to, and there's no infiltration. Bishop C2 and then H6 here. This actually goes back to a Niall Shorts game. He played against a player with this move, and the idea is you're wanting to be able to push. See, if you try, the idea is you want to play F5, but you can't do F5 yet because the knight could jump into G5 here. So what you do is you prepare F5 so that when you play F5, the H-pawn covers G5. So you're able to get your kingside expansion going. So H4 would be played, and then you can play F takes E5 if you want to. Then bishop takes E5, knight takes E5, knight takes E5, and bishop D6. This is a tremendous attack here. Bishop D6 is an exclam move, really good move, really good. And if knight F2, then you can play knight f6. Oops. And if knight takes, rook takes the knight then, and e5 is coming, and all your pieces and your snipers are all ready for the final assault. And it feels like black gets full compensation for the exchange, in my opinion. So c4 was played, then bishop c2, and queen to b6. Because you're preparing to take at this point, and there's also some attack that you can play. It's attacking b2 as well, so you're attacking b2, which is a tremendous blow. So b3 is playable, and oops, it's not a mistake. It's a there you go. There we go. I gotta. Just give my computer a second. It's having a little glitch again. Just gotta be patient with your computers. There you go. I've learned patience because it makes studying better. Otherwise, you won't have patience with yourself. That wouldn't be good. This creates a tremendous hole. C takes B, bishop takes, and then wham, G5. Bishop E3, exclam. Yep. Still on. Bishop E3. G3 is too passive of a move. That would be a dubious move. You don't want to go passive. You want to try to go active. And then G4, just smashing the position. FD2, and then F takes E. D takes E, and then H5, and white's in a world of hurt. That's right. Gaining a tempo while seizing control over C4. So this is a tremendous idea. Let me see here. Gotta make sure I have this. There we go. Bishop E2, R3. This makes it so that we can actually take with tempi. They can actually take with the pawn, and yeah. G4, rook 91, and knight to A5 here to attack the bishop, light square bishop. Getting the tempo and control over C4 is vital in some of the play. F5, wait a second, what did I miss here? Oh, C2, sorry, bishop C2. And now F5. Now we're getting a kind of Nile short position without having to have played H6, but it would have been slightly more pleasant of a position to have done the Nile short maneuver on the king side of this move. But you can't get that position every time, so you got to go with the flow when it comes to your position sometimes. Knight D3, King B8, and then A4. This shuts the bishop down from being able to pin the knight. So potentially you could have, rather than king to B8, you could have played bishop B5. in there. So a4 rook c8. Now you have you can attack along the c file, and black will have to work for a lot of counter strikes. He's got counter strikes galore. White has really nothing, but you got to be very vital, very cautious, because the B file is open now. We talked about that. So queen e2, queen a6. This pins the knight to the queen. Queen to e1, and then b6 will now support the knight, and the king could actually potentially flee over to a8 and then just hold up there until the position's safe to come out of the safety spot. It keeps also c5, the knight from coming into c5, which is nice. And so a3, knight e3, and he's going to try to drop his knight into b5. Bishop takes a3. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, not a4. Bishop takes a3, which is an interesting move. Topalov hands over his valuable dark square bishop to secure the c4 square. So rook takes, then knight to c. Wait a second, did I overstep there? Oops. Whoa. There we go. Wow, that was weird. That was interesting. Knight b4. Bishop b7. Bishop d3. Threatens a6. Knight c4. Bishop takes, c takes. Clearing d4 for black's pieces to come flowing in. So d4, d5, not d4. So a5. Come on, there we go. We got it. b5. Of course, it is black's best interest to keep the queen side closed. a6. Queen a8, which is a alpha 0 type of move. Because who would put their queen on a8, right? Kind of like AI type of moves, like, whoa. That's like totally cool. Topalov looked and saw that. He realized that his queen is best placed on this diagonal here, and because we're wanting to try to get a knight into d5, and then if the knight tried to trade, the queen would be able to take back after the knight gets traded off, and really optimum placed pieces for Topalov would be let's see, where are we at? 26, okay. A exclam, and then bishop to e2. White drifts after bishop to h6 here is cool. And this would be another kind of computer line that what you're going to be doing is trying to get bishop g7 and bishop to f6, and then try to just, with your bishop, neutralize black's kingside while keeping your pieces. Remember, the whole goal about chess is defending with the minimum amount and attacking with the maximum. So try to defend minimally and attack maximally. Knight to h5, queen b1, knight takes b4, queen takes b4, and if queen d5, which is kind of a dubious move, I don't really think the queen belongs there. Queen d6, check, exclam. So queen would have to, queen would take, e would take, and white stands a small bit better here in this line. Knight d5, knight takes d5, and now queen takes d5. The opposite colored bishop favors the attacking side. So white is in deep trouble. An object can have two things. One, it hides a far away attack, so the bishop could attack from a distance. Two, it completes a battery attack with bishop to c6. And white's light squared bishop does cover h6, and it does cover g5, but not as good that we like. So we have to also remember white's bishop is hemmed in by black's pawns, while black's bishop is free to roam the board. And the pressure along A8 to H2 would be almost unbearable. And there is, black can play knight A8, or king A8, I mean, and transfer the rook to B6, and try to pick up the A6 pawn too. Via king a8, rook b8, rook b6, bishop c8, and try to get a pass pawn that way if the position gets locked down. So black's the one with all the play. Avoid fixing pawns on the same color as your bishop. But you know what, that does happen sometimes in some scenarios. f4 gets played here, which in my opinion is a mistake, and the author also believes it's a mistake too. This move adds more of an attack. If white had played f3, this would have been an exclam move, because what you're setting up is to trade off the light squares. You don't put it on the same color as your bishop. So c to g8, f takes, rook takes, because you're trying to double and go for a mating threat. Bishop f6, queen f6, f3, rook to e4 is an exclam move here. And queen g3, bishop c6, and bishop f4. Black is better here than he was in the game, so this is actually a better position. h5 here, we're going to start rolling the pawns, and we're going to go h4, h3, and just mate with a queen and bishop. Rook b1, h4, king f1, c6, bishop g1, and just we're almost done, not to worry. Good night, be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Rook b1. Let's see here. I have to see, where did I... bishop g1, there we go. King a8. Rook b4. Rook b8. King e1. h3. The weak light squares proved to be vulnerable for black, actually valuable for black. g3. Rook c8. Oops. Hold on, what did I miss here? Uh-oh. Yikes. I missed a move back here. 34. Rook a2. Rook b6. King e1. Good. I knew I missed something because it didn't. And then g3, and then rook b8. Or c, not b8. c8. Bishop e3. Yeah, the bishop is really bad for white. I mean, black's bishop has at least some room to move. White's bishop is blocked in and tombed. Bishop d7 exclam. Worrying about white. It's rook c6, so he just moves. Rook a5. Queen h1 check. King d2, and then bishop c6 now. Queen f2. White's responses are constantly being deprived. Yeah, the position is just so horrible. I mean, this is a miserable game for black. I mean white, not black. White's having no fun here. Bishop d5. Exclam. We don't even mind giving up a pawn here. Queen g1. It was played. If you're thinking b to d5, b takes b5 here, this is also a mistake as well. And then c to b8 here would actually Oops, that's not just a mistake, it's a blunder, sorry. Because this would lose a queen. If you take the bishop, sorry, after here, if you take the bishop, you lose the queen. Of course, we see that. Actually, it's mate, sorry. So rook takes, and then rook takes. And now you're still threatening mate. Are you thinking about bishop? So you're saying bishop here? I think though the problem is queen to queen g1 stops the mate though. Queen g1 stops the mate. And so queen to, yeah, it would just prevent it. And also this bishop does a really good job of covering c4 because sometimes there's a problem. You have to. It also does a couple things too. I don't know why he didn't mention this. Is if you play here, you could actually trade off. Yes, he trades and trades. And let's say you just double rooks. You can actually, your opponent can play d5 and then attack your rook too. So your rook would come under fire. So that's the reason why bishop d5 was an exclam move, was it shuts down any counterplay of d5 with the bishop trying to attack your rook. So this bishop shuts everything up. It's a really good move. Okay, so we'd have e4 and then king c1. Rook c6. This was a exclam move too, and this allows for us to infiltrate and win a pawn, and then try to win the queen, or at least trade off and go into a 1 position. Either way, we're winning. Queen f2, and then now we take the pawn. A takes b5. Rook b1 check, or a1, not b1. Rook b1. Come on. There we go. Rotates b1. Rotates b1. Rook a6. The rook will infiltrate to a3 and cause a lot of chaos. So queen d2, and then rook h1. Queen d1, and then you can actually pick up a pawn in that line. This is crushing, and there's really not much that white can do. So the move actually is white resigned at this point, so I'll just put a circle there so that you know where they resigned. Okay. And then we have to go back really quick and go over what we've learned. Okay, so here at this point with A, F, and then bishop there, queen C. You have to always be ready for A3 and C. Oops, 1 second, sorry. I think Where did I? Oh, A3, and then B4. And then there's, with this queen move here, or sorry, not here, I mean F, there's always B4 idea. There's a B4 idea. And that's kind of what you have to be careful with in B5. Yep, it's raining. Okay, so we'll call it here and pick up, and we're gonna do some more. We'll do 6 puzzles, and then I gotta log. So let's get on to our puzzle mania. I just came up with that. I thought it would be a cool name. I just thought, hey, that would be cool. I believe I have all this right. There you go. 1 out of 6. Good job. Yep. What if they don't take though? Let's say they play rook to h6. What happens if they play rook h6? What do you play? Can you find the mate? There you go. Yeah, I got it too. Yep, there you go. He takes, and there's mate. And there's nothing else that's the only move you can play. I was looking to see if there was any other mates, any other moves the king could do. Nope. It's all mate. Well, we'll try. We'll try really hard. Okay. Bye bye. Be blessed. The Lord be with you. Lord Jesus be with you. Bye bye. Okay. Let's see what do we got here. So white to move. See pawn push, and he could try there, but then that's mate. Yep. And if bishop takes, then that's mate as well. So it's mate and 2. Check. So that can't be right. I'm missing something here. I got it. I got it. Rook here. Rook a5. Pawn takes. Then that's mate. If king takes, then a2 is mate. Got it. One more. queen takes, and then bishop mate. Okay, we will stop here. There we go. Alrighty. And I'll say adieu. Wanted to thank y'all for logging on. And you know what? Great job on sticking with it, getting better, and going through it. I know some of the games are end games are long, the Magnus end games, but by you looking at them and learning and improving, you're getting better. So don't give up. Okay, just keep pushing forward. You'll get better. Okay. What we have to remember is that every long journey begins with one small step. So what that's trying to say, that what Yaz are saying is that it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we have to remember that we know that that's the key in the chess openings. It's not how we start, and it's even not in the middle game. It's our end game that really determines if we're going to win or lose. And sometimes your opponents will blunder in the middle game, and you'll get a win. But if they don't and they take you to your end game, you got to know how your end game goes together, and it's really important that you do that. And we also have to keep in mind that you know what, we all sometimes fall short on our studies, but don't despair. So like if you miss a day and you're like, I want to put 30 minutes in, what you're just going to have to do is tomorrow put in an hour. You just got to do what you got to do. You can't neglect your studies. It's just how it is. You got to make up. Like if you were at work and you missed time, you would have to make it up. Or if you're at school and like a snow day happens or something like that, or rain or whatever that causes you not to be able to go, you still have to make that day up. So it's the same type of thing. And you know what? I always think of what the Lord said, that even when you're tired and you feel like I can't do anymore, He said that He would have us mount up as wings as eagles. So we would be able to fly and be fast. We'd be able to run and not faint. We'd be able to run, not grow weary, and walk and not faint. He also said that He would teach our hands to war and our fingers to fight. So yeah, that's really good. And I also wanted to leave you with one more thing. A wise person listens to counsel. So you don't have to agree with everything that I'm saying, on chess openings or the games or anything, but that you're listening makes you a wise person, because you're able to take the information and have it apply to you. And that's a very important thing that you're doing, and it's really smart. And that's a wise thing. That goes back to the 1, 2, and 5 talents. The 2 and the 5 listened and incorporated it into their business ventures, where the 1 was afraid to do anything with their talent. And in the end, it costed that 1 everything, and the other 2 and the 5 got to honor the Lord of the Manor with their plans. And the 5 made 5, the 2 made 2 more, the 1 didn't do anything. And the Lord even said of the Manor, said that even if you would have put it into like a CD bond and made interest on it, it would have been better than for you to hide your talent in the earth. So just some words of wisdom that I always sometimes think about when I get tired and stuff. I always rely on the Lord Jesus for that. Okay, we have to remember the chess cruncherism is this. We hang up our coats, we hang up our hats, we sit down and study when most won't. Chess crunchers do, and that makes all the difference. And as Wesley so says to the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. We will keep pushing forward. So remember, what did Hannibal Smith say? He says that forcing moves are the key to all of his ideas. He wants to know where his opponents are going, so he forces his opponents to go down the path he wants. It doesn't matter the method. It could be decoys, x-rays, pins, skewers, whatever it takes to end up getting checkmate in the end. And that's our end goal, is checkmate in chess. So it doesn't matter how we get there, as long as they're forcing moves, and a forcing move ends in usually a draw or a win. If you lose, you know what? Learn from it, come back stronger, have fun in chess, and remember to honor the Lord Jesus always. And 2 thumbs up, hoorah, be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. And have fun, and again, remember, use the talent that the Lord Jesus has given you, and honor Him with it. Bye bye, and I'll see you tomorrow.